Hello students, in this lesson we are going to learn how to make your knights super powerful. Take a look at this example. Compare black's knight with white's knight. Black's knight is in the corner and white's knight is in the center. If I ask you the question, how many squares does this black knight is covering? You will say black knight is covering these two squares. And if I ask you how many squares white knight is controlling, then you will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. White's knight is controlling 8 squares and black's knight is controlling only 2 squares. So we can say that white's knight is 4 times more powerful than the black's knight. And the reason is because white's knight is in the center. If you want to make your knights powerful, then you must place them in the center or near the central squares. Let's look at a practical example. In this position, we are white. We have a knight on c3, but right now it is not doing much. It is attacking its own pawns. But white has a way to make this knight more powerful. If you can find a square that is near the opponent's king or near the central squares, then the knight will become much more dangerous. In the previous lesson, we have seen how to find a weak square. And the weak square in this position is f5. f5 is a square in the opponent's position that cannot be covered by a black's pawn. Black has played both of these two pawns forward, so he cannot use any of these two pawns to cover the f5 square. If we can put our knight on the f5 square, then it will be near the opponent's king, it will be near the central squares, and it will be more powerful. So how do we take the knight and put it on the f5 square? And the answer is knight to d1. Many times when you have to go forward, you have to take one step back. By taking one step back, you are preparing knight to e3 and then knight to f5. Once the knight reaches f5, it will become super powerful and it will help you checkmate the black's king. Black plays rook c8 and white plays knight e3. Now the knight is ready to go to f5. Black plays rook c7. It's a defensive move. Black's idea is to push the pawn forward and to defend via the 7th rank. And we continue with our maneuver. We play knight to f5. Finally, this knight is super strong. This knight is attacking the d6 weakness. It is also attacking the bishop, and later it can also go to h6 and give a check. Black plays rook f8. Black is just trying to protect his king. And now we play rook h7. We are threatening g7 bishop. Black plays f6. And now you can see the rook is defending the bishop. That's why black put the rook on the c7. In this position, it is white to move, and white has a fantastic sacrifice to win this game. White played rook cross g7, giving up his rook. After rook cross g7, white played knight h6 check, forcing the king to the h file. Black plays king h8, and now white plays knight f7 check, forking the king and the queen. Black cannot capture this knight because it's a double check. So black is forced to play king g8, and now you can simply capture the black's queen and white is winning here. The key to this successful attack was a strong knight maneuver. You took your knight from c3 to f5. Once the knight reached f5, it helped you to attack the black's king. Now let's look at the next example. In this position, we are black. Our knight is on c6, but right now it is not doing much because all of these squares are covered by the opponent's pieces or pawns. If you want to make your knight powerful, you must find a way to put your knight in the center. And there is one good square for your knight. You can put your knight on e4. From e4, knight will cover a lot of squares in opponent's position. So how do you get your knight to e4? And the answer is knight to e7. Many times when you want to go forward, you have to take a step back. By playing knight e7, black's plan is to go knight g8. Yes, knight on g8. So that it can go to f6 and then it can go to e4. That's a long knight maneuver, but it is worth it because knight on e4 will become a monster. Black plays bishop e2, white plays knight g8. After knight to c5, white is also activating his knight. Black plays knight f6. Finally, after knight d3, knight to e4. This knight is on e4. Now look, this knight is attacking the queen and this knight is also attacking the g3 pawn. Compare this knight with this knight. Knight on c6 was not doing much, but once it reaches the e4, a central square, it becomes so much powerful. It is attacking the g3 pawn, and based on this knight, we can start the attack on the king side. After queen e3, you immediately play pawn to h5. You want to play queen h6 and then push h4 and attack on the white's king side. White plays knight e5. White also got a strong knight. We play queen h6. After bishop to d3, we play bishop e6, developing a piece. White plays king f1, and now we play pawn to c5. We sacrifice a pawn. After d cross c5, we play bishop cross e5. Knight on e5 was strong, so we eliminate the knight. White plays f cross e5. First we exchange the queens, and now black has a powerful move. Black plays knight cross g3 check. Idea: after rook cross g3, you will play pawn to f4, and this rook is now trapped. So black is winning here. And again, the key to this successful attack was a strong knight in the center. Thanks to the strong knight in the center, you are able to attack the white's king. When it comes to making your knight powerful, remember this one simple principle. Put your knights in the center. If you can manage to put your knight in the center, then it means your knight has become powerful. That's it for this lesson. Let's go to the next one.